Alright, welcome to round 10 of the FRL Division 1 Championship. Here we are in Monza, Italy. The Temple of Speed. An all-time classic, really, in Formula 1. The fastest circuit on the entire calendar, hence the nickname, the Temple of Speed, as I mentioned just a moment ago. Sketchy Bull has taken pole position in a pretty amazing lap. Envy second, Wolfer third, Henny fourth, and Max fifth. With Pruitt and Ghostly coming up sixth and seventh, as well as the Yeti. Once again, we have both Alpine Division 1 drivers and their Division 2 reserves, reserving for separate teams, mind you, in the top 10, which is honestly impressive. Shows just how strong that team is. It's absolutely incredible to see the pace these guys have. And while speaking of these drivers, let's take a look at their tires as Wolfer's disconnected. But anyways, it's medium tires across the board for the most part, with a few hard tire runners being Sketchy Bull, Wolfer, who is still disconnected, Slayer, Zip, and Big Cheese starting at the back. But the three cars in front of him are running on the soft tires. Jim, Nopop, and Gio are all prepping the softs for a pretty aggressive run, and both Ferraris starting near the back. It's going to be a tough time, as well as for the Mercedes, who both disqualified, and I have a sinking feeling they may have collided with one another before we even got started into the actual race. On the bright side, though, they'll be able to start okay, but their tires may be a little bit cold in comparison, perhaps. But anyways, we have everybody coming out towards the grid, and at this moment, we're going to be able to see exactly how the start is going to play out. Now, going into the run into turn 1, it's going to be difficult. I would say, in terms of the chaos factor that this track brings level on turn 1, it's up there. Into, I would say, I guess you'll see for yourself in just a moment once everybody loads in. There we go. 5 red lights coming on here in Monza for the main race. It's lights out and away we go, and already Sketchy Bull makes a good getaway as well as Wolfer. He's immediately shot up into second and maybe fighting for first. Meanwhile, behind him, you can see all those cars getting ready to make moves. An entire horde going into turn 1, and there's already a collision. Oh, and that's just absolute chaos towards the back, but it actually went a lot better than I initially expected. That's the two Mercedes colliding with one another. Dub is already out of the race, and Yeti is spun out as well with his front wing missing. And well, that's going to be a full safety car. And that is unfortunate. Dub didn't even make it 3 turns in this race before he ended up getting DNF'd. And while it is a full safety car, so it's going to be easy for everybody to catch up, but this has kind of played okay for Yeti because he can go in and get that front wing change basically for free. Probably switch to a set of hard tires. Plus, I mean, well, not Pop, Jim, and Gio made up a whole lot of ground off the start. If they want to, they could go in, but honestly, I would maybe try to hold on. And at the same time, those soft tires are not going to last long. The tire degradation around here is insane. So, I don't know. It's kind of a risky move. It's not a bad idea to go either way, really. Gio's going to choose to stay out, but not Pop chooses to go in. He decided to take advantage, hoping he would still have a couple positions on a few other drivers. Oh, and he had to get a new front wing as well, so he didn't have much of a choice. But on the bright side, he at least has a set of hard tires on now, and that should last far longer than a set of softs. So we have the Mercedes out on track once again, and well, they collided with each other on the formation lap, at least I think so, I could be wrong on that. And during the start of the race, I have a feeling that may lead to tension later on. And well, in real life Formula 1, we have seen tension between Mercedes drivers. One only needs to look at Spain 2016 to know just how tense things can get. And just how out of hand it can get as well. Hopefully it doesn't go that direction. But it's going to take a bit for everybody to catch up. But just from judging by the rate everybody's catching up, I think we'll be able to resume on the next lap actually. Now there is one problem though getting stuck behind the safety car. The hard tires struggle to keep warm under safety car conditions. Oh, Gio's chosen to go into the pits. Is this a strategy call, or is it... Okay, it is a strategy call, and I honestly kind of agree with it. As I said before, the tire degradation is pretty massive around here, but it probably would have been better to pit earlier, because now he's going to drop even more positions. He probably should have pit when Napop did, but still, at least he's going to be able to be with the entire grid once we get going once again. Jim, however, he's taking a pretty big risk right now, continuing to stay on the soft tires. I don't know how much longer they're going to last. Sure, they still have a decent amount of life in them, but I would say the safety car is going to extend that life, but typically it's only about... You're only going to be on the softs for about 6 laps at most. But again, safety car conditions, you could probably go 7 or 8 laps before wanting to pit. No, they did make it 7 or 8 laps. Wait, Taylor Boss has spun out into the wall and has broken his front wing. Well, that is really bad news for him, because I think the safety car might go in this... Yep. Speaking of, there it is. Race control just said safety car is going to go in this lap. Taylor Boss is now basically ruined unless another safety car triggers. Alright, here we go. Back on our way. Sketchy Bull is going to lead off well, but Henny is already going to make a fight for it going into turn 1. He's going to break as late as he can to try and make an overtake, going around the outside. Now he's got the inside, but he's going to have a disadvantage, because Sketchy Bull on the outside line is going to get a better exit. And something has already happened to Ghostly, it looks like, as well as that's Envy taken out as well. Oh, a disappointing day for Red Bull at this track. One driver already out, and the other near the back. Meanwhile, oh wow, we already have overtaking at the chicanes. Drivers are getting really aggressive. You can see in front of J-Cho, those 4 drivers, Ziv, Skid, Cheese, and Tonic, are all going wheel to wheel really close. And Tonic just hits Big Cheese there. He didn't leave him enough space, honestly. Big Cheese left him plenty, but Jim just kind of bumped into him. Meanwhile, Wolfer and Henny are going wheel to wheel through this section. I don't know if that's a wise move, and Henny is wise enough to back out. But still, that lost him a whole lot of time compared to the leader. Jim is doing his best to keep up, but I have a feeling the stewards are going to be looking pretty closely at what happened. And he's now alongside Skid. That's a little bit weird. I think that was a glitch. And Jim hits Skid again. Well, he didn't hit Skid again. Yeah, Skid is lagging. What is going on with Skid? Meanwhile, J-Jo just flies immediately into the pits, as well as, looks like Ghostly's going in as well. Yeti, meanwhile, looking to make a move on the inside and not pop. The two bang wheels for a moment, but I think Yeti has managed to complete the move, and he has. He's now ahead into 9th place and is now chasing after Skid. Meanwhile, Henny is keeping up good pace with The 2 cars in front of him, and that is the goal for him. After all, this is one of AlphaTauri's home tracks, so I would say Imola is more of their main home track. Still, to get a podium here where he won last season, I'm pretty sure he would be quite happy about that one. And meanwhile, looks like we have sort of a conflict between... Oh! What was that for Ghostly? He just got a massive snap of oversteer out of nowhere. It's like someone hit him, but not at the same time. That was honestly strange. Meanwhile, Sugi overtakes Skid, and now Sugi's into the point of his teammate coming up not too far behind. He's already ahead of Nappa, but I think Nappa was going to look for a chance to strike back. Look at the straight line speed he's got. He's going to have the outside line going around the final corner. The two getting pretty close here. Barely leaving each other enough space going around that final corner. Nappa is ahead, but I think Slayer is going to have the DRS going for him, or not, just with Slipstream. But he's got 2 other cars coming up fast from behind. Are you really about to have 3 wide going into turn 1? No, we're not, but we're going to have 2. But that's a collision! Oh! And Slayer is forced to take the runoff. He literally had no choice because that Ferrari hit him out of the way. And Slayer gets a massive snap of oversteer as well. Cars are just losing it left and right, struggling for tire grip. Meanwhile, Sugi is going to make a dive here on Skid. Can he get himself ahead of the McLaren? Looks like he has. Meanwhile, Jim, he's doing well to preserve these soft tires, but it's only going to be a matter of time before these tires just become permanently bad. Meanwhile, right behind Sketchy, he has 3 cars on the charge right behind him. I think we're about to see a changing of the hands for the lead, as now Wolfer's going to get a great run down the main straight with DRS wide open. He's keeping right behind, taking advantage of that toe. He's now alongside, putting himself somewhat ahead. He's now cleared the Haas and is up into the lead. But Sketchy Bulla is not done yet. He's fighting it back here. But Wolfer said, nope, I'm ahead. Oh, but he collides with Henny there. And through all of that, Max just immediately slips past all of them. What an overtake from Max Verstappen. A triple overtake, the likes that I haven't seen before. Absolutely incredible. Just threaded the needle. Meanwhile, Emmy and Gio are both in again for front wing replacement. Yellow flag in sector 3. Looks like that may be Ghostly. Oh man, he's struggling a whole lot. I have a feeling he may have gotten damage from an early collision. Meanwhile, Taylor Bottas and JJ are fighting here. I think JJ is going to attempt to dive. He's looking to put himself alongside. Is he going to go for it? No, he backs out. Meanwhile, we have a safety car brought out. Hey, what could have brought out the safety car? Honestly, I'm unsure, but Jim is going to be certainly grateful for that. He's going to take this opportunity to go into the pits. If he gets a set of hard tires, he'll make it to the end. Interestingly enough, Max and Henny are both going in. Fred going in. Gio gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, but all these medium runners and the soft runner of Jim, they can make it to the end on this set of hard tires, absolutely. So now all of them will be at an advantage. Meanwhile, Sugi, just staying out, finds himself up into 4th. Ghostly gets a time penalty for multiple warnings. He's already lost a ton of time. At the rate he's going, he may get left, but I think he may have damage. Because I've never seen him struggle quite like this before. And he is making his way in now. Question is, what is he getting? I mean, if he does have a set of hard tires, he can make it to the end. But I think that is exactly the game plan. Yep. He is getting a set of hard tires. It was one that he used a little bit earlier, but still, he should make it to the end, and he has plenty of time to catch up. The safety car is going to help him out a whole lot there. Meanwhile, Haas is, at least in the moment, in a good position, catching in first and getting in third. However, strategy-wise, not so much because, well, all those medium runners basically got a free stop. Max, Henny, and Jim will not have a stop for the remainder of the race, but the top four will have to pit at some point. Even though the hard tire could theoretically make it to the end of the race, you still wouldn't be able to finish because you need to use two different sets of tires or you'll be disqualified. Still, if the top four can hold on, maybe bank on a late safety car, get a set of stock tires, they can make it to the end, or a safety car in the middle of the race, go on a set of mediums. That is a best case scenario, and honestly, if there was a safety car mid-race, then they could be in the fight once again. Now, Gio is going to be catching up relatively soon, and so they could make the call to just have the safety car come in immediately, but I think it's going to wait one more lap to let Ghostly catch up, and once he does, we'll be able to get going again. I'm still kind of blown away from earlier with Max just making that triple overtake. It was honestly incredible. I mean, he just saw the chaos that was going on with those top three fighting for the lead, and he just flipped right through all of them. It was a very, very opportunistic, but very well done maneuver. Well, and I think Max certainly has another win potentially on the table for him here. However, Henny and Jim are certainly not going to let that go without a fight. Because interestingly enough, he's on a very aggressive strategy. Wait, Henny and Max are up to some shenanigans here. But anyways, Zip and Cheese, both Alfa Romeo drivers, they're on a pretty interesting and aggressive strategy. I think they're banking on a safety car to occur. Wait, what is going on? Okay, they're up to some shenanigans here. I don't know what's going on with Henny. Wait, is he letting Jim overtake him? What is going on between these two? Wait, now Jim is getting overtaken? What is the play here? Are they just playing mind games and they're messing around? And there's the confirmation of race control. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Jetty's going to be leading them off, but he's going to team me right behind. So, if they're working together and they synchronize well, yet he could take advantage of a good start to overtake Wolfer, and then they'd have a 1-2 in their hands, and yet he could act as a good rear gunner. But I'm unsure if that is going to play out exactly as he intends. Meanwhile, everybody else is biding their time, waiting for a chance. I know Zip and Cheese, they're gonna wait and just find the perfect chance, but oh, He's taking his time here before he gets going. And he's sending it now, already making a pretty solid getaway. But Sugi has reacted even better. Look at that. He's already all over the back of Yeti, looking for a chance to perhaps make a move here. But now Yeti pulls away. Is he going to try a late dive? No, he's not. But Henny's going to do a very late dive on Sugi going into turn 1. Can Henny get ahead of the Mercedes? No, he can't, but Skid, oh, he's taking the runoff, and he's lost a load of positions for it. Meanwhile, that is Taylor Boss and Big Cheese going wheel to wheel. Big Cheese around the outside looking for an opportunity, can't make it happen, but further up ahead, we have double too wide going through the chicane. Looks like Jim found himself ahead of Max, and Zib is dropped down a massive load. What's happened to him? I think he may have gone wide at the chicane, perhaps, or maybe was bumped off. That's unfortunate for him. All that work he did to make up a lot of lost ground is hasn't gone down the drain. But Ghostly, he's looking to make a move on Skid, perhaps. He doesn't have the speed, though. It'd be wise for him to back out. Meanwhile, that's Jim losing a lot of ground here. Fred has now found himself ahead, and Pink is coming up fast as well. The two Aston Martins going through. Taylor's ahead, and look at the straight line speed he's got. I think he's going to be a strong contender very soon. Only all depends. If there's a safety car within the next few laps, he's going to be at a pretty good advantage, but he's got a teammate fighting Big Cheese right behind him. Big Cheese taking advantage of the soft tires to give him the extra pace he needs to put himself ahead. Meanwhile, that is Jim and Fred Kimberly going side by side. Taylor perhaps looking for a chance to get alongside there, but Jim managed to keep himself very nicely ahead. I don't know if it's going to be for long. Taylor Boss is incredibly rapid, probably running the most minimum downforce setup he can, probably 0-0 or something crazy like that. Meanwhile, behind, Sugi is having to cover off Jim because Jim is looking for a chance to overtake. Going around this turn, it's going to be close. Sugi keeps himself ahead, but will he keep ahead by the next corner? Yes, he will. That was a good maneuver from Sugi and great defense. But Jim is going to look for another chance to strike here, but he doesn't have the speed for it. And here we go. Up ahead, looks like Wolfer made the move on Sketchy Bull. He's up into the lead now. Meanwhile, Taylor and Jim are side by side. Taylor looking on the inside. He puts himself ahead of the Ferrari, but only for a moment. Jim looking for a chance to get it back. He bumps into Taylor and sends him off the track. Meanwhile, Big Cheese, with the aid of that little slipstream from Jim, he's going to put himself alongside. Can he put himself ahead of the Aston Martin of Pink? Maneuvering really close, Big Cheese goes a little bit too wide into the grass, and he's a little bit off the track. Now his own teammate is looking to make a move on him, as Skid gets a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting, probably digging the runoff. That's it, he's going to look for a chance here. Is he going to attempt to dive? No, he's not. But Sugi went wide, taking the runoff there. Now Fred has found himself ahead into 6th place. Honestly, Henny has found himself in a pretty good position. He could very well win, just as he did last season. Meanwhile, the two Hazards are certainly not letting go of Wolfer just yet. The two keeping close behind, but Sketchy Bull is coming up fast. Look at the straight line speed he's got, thanks to that tow he's getting from the McLaren. His teammate is trolling along just fine behind him. But I think Sketchy may have finally had the opportunity he's been waiting for to make a move on the McLaren. But Wolver's got a whole lot of straight line speed of his own, and I think he's going to be able to perhaps keep ahead. Sketchy's coming up fast. He's going to go for a dive. Yes, he is! Braking late into turn 1. He puts himself ahead. That was a fantastic overtake with Sketchy Bull. Braking at just the right moment. Just late enough to put himself ahead, but not so late that he's off the track. That was a brilliant overtake. Meanwhile, Jim and that's Pink going side by side here. Around turn 3, can Jim put himself ahead of the Aston? Yes, he does. Meanwhile, looks like that's the Alfa Romeo of Cheese perhaps looking to make a dive on Pred. He just can't get close enough to make that move. Meanwhile, Skid has lost his entire front wing. He's going to have to go into the pits to get a replacement. And that's unfortunate. He's going to lose a whole lot of time for that. Meanwhile, with Wolford trying to keep up with Sketchy, Sketchy's teammate has now caught up and is now right on his heels and coming up fast. I think Getty might be able to make a move on him right now. Look at the speed he's got! Going down the back straight, he's put himself ahead. Is he going to find his teammate going to the final corner? No, he isn't, because he just puts himself ahead immediately. Wolford gets out of shape after colliding with Sketchy Bull, but now the two Hasses are in the lead. That was brilliant by Getty. That straight line speed that he had was incredible. He just breezed past the both of them. At the same time, though, Wolver has not given up this fight just yet. Going into turn one, the two getting pretty close. Colliding once again, but Sketchy Bull, he's going to have a bit of a better exit now. And that's going to put him once again ahead of Wolver. Wolver is not giving up, though, keeping himself alongside around the outside. But he keeps himself just behind. Is he going to go for a dive? No, he isn't. But there's Carnage going out behind as Jim puts himself ahead of Sugi. And that is Ghostly overtaking Big Cheese. I have to say, this race is incredible. Non-stop action throughout. Sketchy Bull, though, he's lost a bit of time, actually, now to his teammate. But the DRS is going to allow him to close the gap. But Wolfer, I think he's going to be less concerned about fighting for the lead and trying to hold on to a podium spot. Because he's got a very rabid Alpine right behind him. And an AlphaTauri also chasing not too far behind. We have now 5 cars getting ready to fight for the lead. I mean, 3 was already impressive enough, but with Max and Henny doing it, it's only going to get even better. But Yeti's actually starting to pull away a bit. I think Sketchy may have lost that DRS range. No, he still is holding on. And Max is about to hold on to third because he's going to put himself ahead of the McLaren going into turn 1. Can Max put himself ahead? Yes, he does. That was a fantastic overtake. But Wolver, he's actually starting to lose touch because those tires are really starting to die out on him, I think. And Henny's already coming up fast, and I think he's going to look for a chance to make a move himself. Cheese makes his way into the pits, doing well to hold on to those softs, and now he's going to go in for a set of mediums, and that should make it to the end just fine. And I think it'll be wise for his teammate to do the same quite soon, unless he's going to go for a hyper-aggressive strategy, going from one set of softs to another. If so, I mean, yeah, that would be really risky, and I don't know if that would pay off. Meanwhile, Sketchy has actually made up a bit of ground to his teammates, being able to hold on to DRS, the two doing their best to hold on to a 1-2, but it's only a matter of time before they need to pit. They've been waiting and holding out for perhaps a safety car late way through the race, but it simply is not coming. Now is the time to either continue to hold out or go into the pits. Both Hasses are continuing to stay out. Wolfer as well. I think they're just still trying to hold on or perhaps go for an aggressive strategy to go for a set of soft tires. Now the good news is for Max and Henny, they don't have the box. Those hard tires will make it to the end, no problem. Oh, and that's Pink taking the runoff as Jim goes past. What happened to Pink there? Meanwhile, in 16th and 17th, it's Gio and Taylor Boss fighting. Though not for long, because Gio's now put himself ahead. Is Taylor Boss going to look for a chance to strike back, though? I think he just might. He's putting himself alongside on the outside, but now going to the chicane, he has to back out. Nearly goes into the back of Gio, but breaks just in time to avoid a pretty nasty collision. Meanwhile, Zip puts himself ahead of Skid because he's still staying out despite having a broken front wing. And I think he realizes, well, as long as the front wing's gone, that means I have less downforce and that's more speed on a straight line. So it's not the end of the world necessarily, but he's going to lose out massively in the corners. As you can see, he's already pulled away over a second gap. Meanwhile, Ghostly is going to put himself alongside Slayer, two going side by side down the main straight, and now Ghostly's got DRS, and that's going to give him an advantage. But the two are still keeping side by side, going into turn one. Which one will find themselves ahead? I think it's going to be Ghostly, but he goes wide a little bit, and that may leave him vulnerable to Slayer. But nope. Ghostly plants his car firmly to make sure that he won't get past, and Sugi plants his car ahead of Jim now. But Jim bombs into the back of Sugi off the track, Sugi goes, after getting hit by the Ferrari. But he rejoins and remains ahead of Jim anyways. And honestly, I think Sugi's perfectly justified to do that, considering the only reason he went off track was because he was hit off by Jim in the first place. Pink, though, he's going to want to make a move. He's on the outside line. He's now ahead. Jim is forced to back out. And Pink is now up into 7th place. Meanwhile, Max overtakes Yeti to take a hold of 2nd place. At this point, he could very well have the lead on his hands. Sketchy Bull's doing well to hold on, but that time penalty is going to hurt him going in the end. Henny just continuing to hold on. He might give Max a fight for victory. Wolfer, just kind of tired of waiting at this point, is going to go in. The question is it going to be soft or medium tires that he's going to go for? Checking, he's actually gone for a set of medium tires, and honestly, because he's waited this long, he'll be able to push 100%. Meanwhile, the two Hassets, I think they're going to attempt hard soft strategy. They're just going to continue to stay out, again, maybe banking on the late safety car, otherwise go in for soft tires on to the end. As long as he can make it to like lap 21, they should do that just fine. And Wolver's got a 10-second time penalty and he's out of the race! Well! They wanted a safety car and it's just been delivered. Oh, that's unfortunate for Wolver. What happened to him? Oh, that's just commentator's curse at its finest. Wolfer's out of the race. Right when I said, if a safety car came out, maybe it would help the two Hasses. Oh, man, I can just feel the monkey's paw curling right now. That is just pure evil. And Skid's gotten a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. McLaren just can't catch a break. Still, honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea for Max and the others to go in for a set of softs as well, but they choose to stay out. Now, Henny's going in, though, for a set of soft tires, an interesting choice, and a pretty aggressive one as well. Sugi is going to make a wise choice to go in. Pink, Jim, Prid stays out, interestingly enough, as well as Ghostly. Meanwhile, Envy, pretty much everybody is going in. Not Pop, it would honestly be in their best interest for the medium runners to go in, but Not Pop's going to choose to stay out. And I don't think that's a wise decision, because he's on the medium tires, it only lasts so long. No, Zip and J-Tower can go in. And, wow, suddenly things look really good for Alpine. Well, not for Alpine. Well, actually, yes, for Alpine, because they're first and third right now, but they got the two Hasses right behind as well. They're certainly going to be looking to fight for it. Not Pop. Honestly, those mediums are going to be quite worn. I think he should have gone in. But Hanny, Sugi, Pink, Jim, and Envy, he's got all 5 of those drivers behind. Not Pop is going to have a very rough time of it, attempting to hold on to 6th place. Because, again, he's got 5 very fast drivers behind. It's going to be difficult. The same case applies to J-Tower, really, with Slayer, Chio, Skid, Taylor, and the 2 Alfa Romeos. It's going to be rough. That tire wear is going to hurt him, and the safety car is going to be out for a couple laps. So, I guess the only way to find out how this is going to play out is to wait. And well, if you want to see some of the race replays, we actually have a YouTube channel up and running. If you look at the About section on my Twitch, you'll see the link to the FRL YouTube channel, and there you'll see the uploads. At the moment, we have only a few of the races. Good news is, though, I am working to get all of them uploaded. I'm going to release them all at once. I have almost everything caught up until I accidentally misclicked and accidentally started uploading 4 videos at the same time. And keep in mind, each video takes up around 20 gigabytes of space. So just one video on its own takes a while. Imagine trying to upload 80 gigabytes onto YouTube. I made a mistake. But anyways, it is catching up though. And I honestly should be able to get everything out by the end of the week. And well, as for my own projects, um, I do still have those 2 podcasts planned. However, the Formula One podcast that I'm planning, I'm going to be postponing it until next year. And basically, at the start of the year, we'll get a Formula One podcast started. And essentially, at first, just talk about how Formula One works, an introduction to it, then just see how the 2023 season plays out, and then also other little videos on the side covering world champions or other drivers, certain teams, and certain seasons. Like seasons that I know I need to cover are 2007, 8, and 9. And I'm probably going to cover either 2010 or 2012 as well as 2016. But that would probably be included with profile on Nico Rosberg. Oh, Taylor Boss. Wait, no, this one's Taylor Boss. It's not possible again. He's going in for a set of soft tires now. But meanwhile, he's on a set of medium tires. Is he? Okay, I think I know what he's doing. Yeah, so some of the drivers at the back, they just decide, well, you know what? As long as I'm in the back, I might as well just run and just go into the pits, get another set of soft tires so they can have the freshest tires they possibly can. But actually, Zip is choosing to stay out because I think he knows the safety car is going to come in this lap. And there's a confirmation of race control. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Max, Ghostly, and Prit are going to be leading them off. But they're going to have strong competition behind them. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 drivers? Or did I completely miscount? I miscounted 12. Actually, I technically didn't miscount. The next 14 drivers behind them are on soft tires. 2 of them are on fresh, the rest are on slightly worn. So this restart is going to be incredibly important. I would say particularly for Fred, to see if he can even hold on to 3rd place as we get going once again. Because again, those are fast runners right behind him. But the restart, Ghostly, he reacts pretty poorly actually. And he could be in danger of losing 2nd place because Fred is coming up fast. And is going to look to make a move perhaps. On the inside, he's trying to find a spot. He's on the grass even. And that's made him vulnerable now to Sketchy. Fred going deep. This is incredibly close here, but Fred loses out. Sketchy Bolt puts himself ahead. He's now into 2nd place. Meanwhile, losing out are quite a few drivers, and that, well, Big G is clearly the biggest loser in that regard, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Max doing his best to hold on is going to have a rough time of it, yet he puts himself ahead of Fred. The 2 Hasses charging towards the front. It's now a battle between Alpine and Haas for the podium places. But I think you can't count out a certain AlphaTauri driver just yet, because Henny's coming up right on the heels of Fred, looking for a chance to make a move on the inside. Could he make a dive here? Is he going to go for it? He is going to go for it. Oh, and that puts Prit out a little bit wide and could leave the Henny vulnerable to being overtaken, but he makes a very good getaway and is now up to P5. Podium is potentially still in the cards, but he's got a horde of drivers still coming up fast right behind him. Oh, and Prit is just losing a ton of ground here. Yellow flag in Sector 3. That is the Ferrari of not pop off the track. Meanwhile, Sugi just being very rapid right now. He's coming up on the pink. He's going to look on the outside. Is he going to go for a dive? I think he just might. He's going to look for a chance, braking late as he possibly can, trying to make himself a space. He barely had enough room and couldn't make the move happen, and that's going to leave him vulnerable now to Jim, who just threw him out of sorts there, I think. Either that or Sugi did it to himself. Meanwhile, though, is Sketchy going to attempt to dive here? No, he's not, but it's going to be a battle between these two for the lead. At the moment, Max is at a massive disadvantage, just doing his best to defend. He's not going to be able to do so for long because it's only a matter of time before DRS is fully enabled. If it is already. Now going down the next DRS break, does he have that rear wing open? No, he doesn't, so I think it's not going to be enabled until the next lap. Meanwhile, Henny has already caught up enough to be close to Yeti. And he is proving to be very rapid here. He's aiming for P5, but I think he's going to look a little bit higher perhaps at the podium if he can get ahead of the two Alpines, or ahead of Yeti perhaps. Meanwhile, towards the front, Max is going to have to defend for his life if he hopes to hold on to victory. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold on much longer, because look at the straight line speed Sketchy's got. He's going to look for a chance on the inside. He's alongside. Can he clear the LP by turn 1? No, he can't. They're both going to have to dive for it. Sketchy dives just a little bit deeper and finds the speed he needs to put himself ahead into the lead. Meanwhile, Snoogie and Jim get really close to one another. Jim puts himself ahead now, but he's slightly on the grass as well, and Snugie's still right behind with Pink coming up as well. Is Snoogie going to go for a dive? I think he just might. He's looking for it, but he chooses to back out. Meanwhile, that is now Pop and Skid into the pits, and they both lost a lot of time. And who's the Mercedes there? Is that? Oh, that's Slayer. He's out. At this point, it's way too late for any safety car to occur, so it's just down to the drivers and their pace. And you can see, I think Henny's got a little bit more pace than Yeti right now. He may be able to use that to his advantage. But Sketchy's now into the lead, but DRS should be enabled now. And that may give Max an opportunity to strike back and take back the lead. Sketchy Bull, he just had the fastest lap, but Max does have DRS, and it's giving him plenty of speed. Not enough to make an overtake, though. He's going to have to remain behind, but that's causing Ghostly to lose more and more touch, and that's not good. If he loses that DRS range, he's practically helpless to the speed of Yeti and Henny. Meanwhile, Jim and Sugi continue their fierce duel. Sugi getting stuck behind Jim now. He's going to look for a dive, isn't he? He's looking for a chance, but once again chooses to remain behind. And here we go now. Max actually lost that DRS range, and that is really bad news for him, because now both him and Ghostly could be vulnerable to getting overtaken. But if they simply hold on for one more lap, at least Max will be able to finish on the podium. Ghostly certainly will not, because he's got a penalty, and that's going to put him behind Yeti and Henny at the very least. Like the big cheese is now. Oh, that's an unfortunate one. He was feeling solid up until that point. But now Yeti's going to get a really good run. I think he's going to look to perhaps get P3 on Merrick, because he's getting a lot of speed here. Is he going to attempt to dive? He's braking late, but chooses to back out. Meanwhile, Pink and Jim are going wheel to wheel here. Can the Aston Martin put himself ahead? Yes, he does. He's now up into 7th place. Jim is losing spots here. Is he just suffering from tire wear, or is it damage of some kind? Jim braking very late once again, nearly into the back of Pink, coming in quite close there. And Not Pop now sets the fastest lap of the race. And so Sketchy Bolt's actually going to be missing out on a point for that. Now it's on that final back straight. Oh, and Jim just got a time penalty. Well, okay, he does have enough of a gap to at least get a point finish, but it will be cutting it close. Meanwhile, crossing the line, Sketchy Bull is actually going to have to miss out on victory today as Max takes home victory, but at the very least, the Hasses are going to celebrate with a double podium for the American team. Kenny with a fantastic 4th place finish, a result I'm pretty sure he's going to be quite happy to have on his home track. Still, I imagine he's going to be just slightly displeased. If he was just a little bit faster, he could have ended up on the podium. Meanwhile, Pink finishes 5th, Ghostly after the penalties, 6th, Geo 7th, Sugi 8th, Jim 9th, and Taylor Boss 10th. Rounding out the points finishers, followed up by Zip, Prid, Envy, Not Pop, and Skid. Well, we're just waiting on Not Pop and Skid to cross the line, although Not Pop seems to be having a hard time doing so. He is going to be able to put himself across, but I have a feeling it's going to do its thing. Yes, he is. And someone will need to check out that engine after that. And Drive of the Day goes to Pink for, honestly, what was a spectacular drive. He had to really fight for that position, just going toe-to-toe with Sugi and Jim. Managed to come out on top of at least Jim, not Sugi so much, but still, it was a fantastic battle to see between the three of them. And winning once again is Max Verstappen, bringing home yet another spectacular result. I have a feeling he is going to have a very good chance of winning this championship at this rate. But Haas is certainly going to be very grateful to get a huge boost of points that the team needs. It's going to put them potentially further up in the constructor standings. And that was the end of the Italian Grand Prix. Max takes home a fantastic victory once again. The two Hasses of Yeti and Sketchy Bull putting out yet another brilliant performance. Yeti, I mean, again, he's a Division 2 driver, and yet he's getting podiums and victories in Division 1. Meanwhile, his teammate unfortunately missed out on points today. Still, I think both of them are worthy of moving up to Div 1. I think they will by next season. But that was the end of yet another exciting race. We'll be seeing you all next time when we head to another all-time classic at Belgium, Spa. We'll be seeing you all then. I've been Black Mage, and I'll be seeing you all next time.